it's connected, open up the program, and then turn it on. That way it works. Otherwise, because this is still alive even though it's not turned on, it's still communicating with the COM port. So this is turned on. Here we have our image.
What type of image is that?
This is I think it might be a JPEG file. It takes any photo format, and what it does is it automatically rasters it. So one thing that you guys want to know is that let's first say we finished a photo that we illustrated ourselves, and we want to raster it to the laser. What we're first going to do is we're going to go to File, Open. And then let's go to my desktop. There's a bunch of demo photos that we can use, but the only thing we see is XPS right now. So there are a bunch of photos and we can't see them though. The reason we cannot see these photos is because it defaults to look for XPS files under files of type. So what you want to do from here is you want to switch from files of type to all files. Here we are. So here goes all files. Cage. Let's do a what the fuck, maybe? I don't know, this is some default photo. That's cool. It would take a really long time to print that, so let's do another one. So let's do something.
There's a Hello Kitty one on there.
Is it?
It's all white, basically.
Do you know what the name of it is? Hello Kitty?
It says Hello Kitty.
So we can do a PNG. So we're going to do a Hello Kitty test print. So here we have the Hello Kitty. We just finished mocking up Hello Kitty. We are now done illustrating a wonderful Hello Kitty piece of art. And with this piece of art, we just opened it up in our program after we saved it to our desktop. We've opened it. It's a PNG extension. It can also take any image extensions and automatically turn it black and white. As you can see, the black and white means that it has been rastered. So now we're going to actually go over the parameters. But before we get into the parameters, let's actually talk about the picture itself and how it's not to scale. This picture that the program opens does not necessarily make it to scale to the actual measurements and dimensions of the photo itself. To tell by the dimensions, always look at the bottom of the screen to see the height and the width. The dimensions of this is 5.94 inches wide and 8.33 inches high. This program only measures in inches as well. So if you have an Illustrator program, switch it from pixels, if it's set to default to pixels, to inches. And then from there, you will be to scale with this. Never trust the dimensions of how this picture is displayed here. So what you want to do is we have the measurements. We know that it's big enough to print in this bay. So now we're going to go over the further parameters. Some of these features in this program do not work because they're designed for a higher end laser. Some of them just ignore. On the top left it says go. That will fire the laser and make it go. Raster and vector only, raster and grave only, or vector cut only. Right now we're just doing rastering, so let's just focus on that. Don't worry about switching that. We have zoom in, zoom out, and zoom reset. Don't worry about it. It doesn't work at all. Don't try to spend time figuring it out. It does not work. So here we have raster and grave and vector cut. Don't worry about vectoring unless you're vectoring. That's something entirely separate that we're not going to discuss right now. So now we're actually getting to the core options. We have trim white space, and what that will do is, of course, trim the white space of the photo. The dimensions are also different than the original dimensions, so every time you trim white space, you'll get new dimensions. In addition to that, we have speed right here. General rule of thumb is the lesser the speed, the more stable the print is. So if you want to do a test print, you can, I would say, do it around like 75 or less. If you're doing a material print, depending on the material, I would say do it at a lower speed. The whole speed and intensity ratio you'll get with experience. So in addition to that, let's lower this to a pretty high speed. There's excuse me, threshold for the speed setting.
It seems like you raised it.
I did. I'm going to 86 because it's just a test print and I don't want to take everyone's time too much.
Right.
So here we have threshold. The threshold pretty much adjusts the contrast of the photo and what it will print. This printer will print black and keep white. So black is what it's going to engrave. And you can adjust the threshold to make it a complete 1 or a 0, which didn't actually do anything surprisingly.
It's because the image is already black and white.
Oh, it's a stencil. Yeah, good call. I didn't see the image before. So now we can also have the option to invert what we're printing, like that, and print that instead.
I like that one.
So if you want to print that, we can do that as well. So, so far we're at trim white space, we're at speed, we're at threshold, and then we're also at invert. Now we have 3 different DPI settings, which is dots per inch, and it pretty much it tells the laser how fine to print. You would think that the highest setting, which is 1000 by 1000 DPI, is the best, but that's not necessarily the case because it depends on what material you're using. Not all material is the same. I would recommend experimenting before you actually continuously change the settings and just stick to high DPI.
What materials, for instance, would you want to use DPI more for?
Probably wood. If you use it on a softer material, such as like a plastic, it would melt it and it could actually warp it faster than wood, where wood can actually absorb the heat more efficiently and distribute it.
Right.
So higher DPI for plastic or for wood?
For wood, I would say, and lower for plastic. You could do high DPI with plastic, but you'd have to get the settings down first. You'd have to like maybe do it at a higher speed, lower intensity. So aside from that, it looks like you guys are on favor of printing this. So in order to print this, we need to figure out what it's going to be like.
You're
now,
print the inverted image?
What would you guys want? Inverted, non-inverted?
Non-inverted would be faster.
It would be about the same, a little bit longer. We can do that. So I'm going to do it on the medium, which is, I guess you can say, we'll default to right now, just to play around with. The guide laser, I think, is actually out.
No, it's not.
It isn't?
Let me see.
Someone broke it yesterday, they were saying.
Yesterday?
Yeah, yesterday. Some kids these days, so.
Well, let's put something on. Let's get some paper and see if it's actually out.
Sorry.
How do you break your guide laser?
I don't know. The diode probably died. We gotta get together and maintain this, because I